Welcome back to the David Thompson Show, fighting tyranny one day at a time. It's Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. I'm glad you can join me. Well, it's easy to see, for me anyway, that fascism has taken over the executive branch of the United States government. And fascism has a lot of support within the rank and file of the Republican Party. Many of the right-wing people, MAGA, are sold lock, stock, and barrel on Donald Trump. Now, I'm not saying that they understand that they're fascists. They may not know this. But, again, without understanding history in detail, I mean, I don't say you need to be an expert, but understanding history in detail, understanding political movements, how things work, you really will never get to where we need to be in understanding that now fascism has reared its ugly head in America. Now, I found a gentleman. His name's Jason Stanley. He's Jacob Urowski Professor of Philosophy at Yale University. He wrote a bunch of books. His most recent book, How Fascism Works: The Politics of Us and Them. And I thought this was a good time to bring fascism back. Again, I try to find experts in the field because people look at me and say, oh, yeah, what do you know? Well, I know a lot, but never enough. But I want to go through some of these 10 points he makes. So please listen and watch to the end of the video. I'm going to provide commentary after each particular tactic that he describes. So let's start with this. He writes, fascism is a cult of a leader who promises national restoration in the face of supposed humiliation by, guess what? Immigrants, leftists, liberals, minorities, homosexuals, women. In the face of what the fascist leader says is a takeover of the country's media, cultural institutions, schools, by these forces. Wow. Okay, I can rest my case right here and walk away from the microphone. Maybe go to Sheetz and get another coffee. Because this sums up Donald Trump and his followers, doesn't it? You find that enemy, us versus them. We've talked about this, people, on this show many times. Us versus them. You always, third time, always need a bad guy or multiple bad guys and kind of clump them into one big group. And you throw your ire at them, your hatred at them. The truth is, people like Donald Trump because he hates the people they hate. So, no matter what he does politically, the truth is he comes at it from a fascist standpoint, which is and should be, to me and you, terrifying. So what happens from this? Now, Jason Stanley goes on to say, and that's what you need, a really macho, powerful, violent response to these incursions by all these groups. The fascist leader says he will solve the problem. Again, I can drop the mic and walk away because once again, I rest my case. This is Donald Trump. He has physically, with his own mouth, said so much. He's the only one who can fix it. One of the most unintelligent people you'll ever meet. Not my words. And yet he's going to fix it all. Because what he's good at is what any fascist leader is good at. Creating a group as your army to fight against those people you don't like. In this case, his army is MAGA. And the people he doesn't like are all those people I mentioned. Okay? We have to really understand that everything he's done is by a playbook. And you know what? He may not even know it. I'm not saying he read Hitler's Mein Kampf. I'm not. I'm saying this is inherent in him. I think many leaders have their own technique. They understand how to manipulate people, as he has done for many years. As a businessman, a reality show host, an actor, right? Not very good at any of the three, but people will believe it because he said he's great at it. The data doesn't prove that. We forget that many fascist regimes started off as democratic political parties. We forget that Hitler, the Nazi party, ran in an election. Fascist parties start as fascist social and political movements before they come to power. All fascism involves a mystic past. Okay, so we can see that these things fit the criteria, I believe, of our fascist government today. And of course, I always said this, that people are looking to make America great again. It's hard to say with a straight face. Whew, I'm sorry. So to do that, you have to have a place to go back to, right? And it's a mythical place. It's when everything was great for certain people. And of course, those others don't deserve it, right? So it only has to be for certain people. So let's start with the mystic past. That's number one on his list. And so he goes on and he uses an analogy that in Poland, there were groups of people that were sheep herders and fishermen. And they'd get together and they'd talk about their past as Polish people, their history of fishing and herdsmanship, okay? Now he goes on and says, well, for the fascist, it's different. The mythic past for these Polish people is okay because they're talking about the reality that was. But here in Fascismville, Trumpville, there is a mythic past that really doesn't exist. In the past, we were great. Wherein did our greatness consist? In our military. And in the past, our dominant racial group ruled over the others. Okay, let's go here to the U.S. What are we talking about here? Oh! I had an epiphany. White America. Donald Trump loves white America, especially rich white America. So he goes on to say here, and then the fascist leader says, that has been taken from you by the leftists and communists. Does that sound familiar? They want to weaken our military. They want to weaken our greatness. So we've heard this in the rhetoric leading up to the election. And even in the past, we've heard this. They're weakening our military. Transgenders in the military. As if a transgender person would hate his country and not love his country. So he's going to weaken the military. Maybe that's true in some respects. Maybe it's not. But we make sure we bring that up. That's our one excuse. See, we need excuses. We need reasons, and we find reasons. We find any reason we can, no matter how minor the reason is, no matter how small of a percentage of the population is involved, we have to bring them up. They're the enemy. The second tactic on Jason's list is propaganda. Now, we talk about that a lot here, my friends. Propaganda. Everybody does it. Okay, let's go on record. And he even says it. Everybody uses propaganda. Propaganda is everywhere, and everyone uses propaganda. In political propaganda, your main message is something other than the information you're conveying. Fascist propaganda is a very particular structure. It's based around a friend-enemy distinction. Donald Trump, 100%. You're either my friend or my enemy. There is no in-between. There is no middle ground here. And he has very few friends and a lot of enemies because he hates everybody. Fascist propaganda has a very particular structure. It's based around a friend-enemy distinction. Sounds like Donald Trump all the way around. He's my friend. He's my friend. And then, of course, everybody else, he makes sure you know that he doesn't like them, that they're the enemy. The political opponent, they are a merciless threat to your very existence and your traditions. Sound familiar? They are the other. Remember this phrase, the other. I've used it in the past. Other people have used it as well in their writings. The other is someone other than you. They're not on your side because they're the other. They're the bad guys. When they are in charge, it subverts the nation. So the structure of fascist propaganda is based on the idea that the others are fundamentally opposed to the nation. So again, you can't be another and still love your country. You can't be another and still be a good person. You can't be another and still be on our side. You're the other. And we have to go after the other. We can't have anybody different. We need white America back as it was. And for all you white people like me, that doesn't necessarily include me and you. We're still out in the field somewhere. For Donald Trump, it's the white people that count to him, the ones that can do something for him, people like him. Now, this doesn't include all the MAGA people either. Many of them would not be in Donald Trump's camp if he had a choice. You MAGA people that aren't like Donald Trump and what he thinks you should be like, you're in the same field we are. You're in the same camp we are, and probably with fences around it. That's how it works. 3, anti-intellectualism. Now, we know that this is under attack right now. We know that Trump has attacked the medical field. You know that he doesn't believe in these viruses, and COVID-19 was nothing. It was minor. Just use bleach and inject it into your arm. It'd be great. You're okay. Basically, Mr. Kennedy believes that we don't need vaccines. He's against all the stuff and wants everything to be holistic. Well, I do too. But you know what? Sometimes I want to rely on science. But science is tricky here. As Hitler says in Mein Kampf, science is only useful insofar as it strengthens the nation. So it's a tool to be used. Fascism is the cult of the leader. It involves the leader setting the rules about what's true and false. Donald Trump has been doing this since day one, since his first term in office. That's fake news. He's declaring fake news, that everything that he doesn't say, everything that doesn't come out of his mouth is fake news. So any kind of expertise, any kind of reality, all that is a challenge to the authority of the leader. So he has to control, and he does this. See, it isn't like I'm just making this up. You can watch him over the years. He's done this. He controls the reality. He controls who gets to have any say. Experts in his first administration were gone. He didn't want to hear experts. He wanted to hear what he wanted to hear. So guess what? Guess who pops up to serve him? That's right, the yes men and women. He has a cabinet full of them right now. So if science can help him, he would say, okay, I'll use it. Institutions that teach multiple perspectives on history in all of its complexity are always a threat to a fascist leader. I just had a video, please go watch it, about his attack on universities. Of course, the big one is Harvard. Why? People are saying, well, they teach woke stuff to kids. You know, these small-minded little brains out there, and that's what they worry about. That's what they think about, because they can't raise their kids right. Apparently, their kids just easily get drawn off into the woods by Bigfoot or something. It's not their fault. It's the government's fault. They're teaching the wrong stuff. You know, this crazy talk. Well, Donald Trump is attacking universities and colleges. Why? Because what they're teaching is things that he does not want you to hear. He doesn't want an alternative to his beliefs, an alternative to the history he believes in. He doesn't want alternatives. He doesn't want people with open minds willing to explore left and right to understand the world as it is. He wants these kids to only understand fascism, Donald Trump, and America, how he sees America. That's why. Pretty good, huh? 4th one, unreality. The center of democracy is truth. And this really ties into all the first 3. You're not free if you've been lied to. Now, Donald Trump is the liar in chief. We've known, and I say this here, and people get mad and they write me comments. You know, listen, if you don't understand and realize that this is the liar in chief, that he's lied all his life, and there's multiple people, times 2, people that can prove this and say this personally. But you write it off because you don't want to know that. It's not true. He wants you to live in a world of unreality. Nobody thinks the people of North Korea are free, goes on to say. The people of North Korea will vote for their leader every time because they have been lied to. It's not a free vote because they don't have access to the truth. So, if you don't have access to the truth and you're willing to believe the lie, you're going to fall for it every time because you might not want to hear the truth. So maybe that's on you. But maybe you've been programmed so long and basically had enough indoctrination in your life to not want to hear the truth. Because all these people, all these things you don't like are weighing on you, and it's not even your business what somebody does in their house or what somebody does anywhere. It's not even your business. Get your nose out of people's businesses. That's a problem today with America and with many right-wing believers, true believers. Equality similarly requires truth, because equality and democracy doesn't mean we all have the same amount of money. It doesn't mean we all have the same car. It means political equality, that each of our voices matters the same. And political equality means speaking truth to power. If someone really powerful is humiliated when they get caught lying, that's the core of our political equality. So if you're going to rip the heart out of democracy, you're going to get people to use lies and to believe lies. And we see that every day. People believe the lie. People believe the lie. Hey, we just destroyed China in a trade war. Destroyed China. These idiots that think this is ridiculous. The tariffs before Trump came into office in January were about 25%, between 20 and 25%. Now they're 30%. Okay, maybe you didn't go to school, but to me, that's not a win-win of anything. Okay, maybe you should study a little economics. Maybe you should study a little geopolitics. Maybe you should understand the world, not as Donald Trump sees it, but as everybody else with common sense sees it. Yeah, I've digressed. Number 5 is hierarchy. Here's a fact about humans. We all pretty much suck to the same degree. One group of us is not better than another group of us. Hierarchy is central here because it's the big lie at the center of things. What is racism but one big lie? Racism is a lie that one group is better than another. You're told that this religion is better, this race is better, this gender is better. Number 6, victimhood. Now, hierarchy goes right into victimhood because once you convince people that they are justifiably higher on the hierarchy, then you can tell them that they're victims of equality. Hold on. German Christians are victims of the Jews. It was in Germany. White Americans are victims of black American equality. Men are victims of feminism. Oh, those men, they can't. Those women got to go. Once you convince people that they should be better, that they have earned the position on the hierarchy over others, then you can tell them that equality is actually a victim. Loyalty to the dominant group means law-abidingness, and the minority group is by nature not law-abiding. So guess what? At first it was blacks, not law-abiding, automatically. Immigrants, none of them are law-abiding. In fact, Donald Trump ran on this. All these people, everyone that's come into this country, they're all not law-abiding. They're not. We need law and order in this country. We need to get rid of all those people because they're all criminals. There's massive, massive crime waves across the nation. Rapes and murders, people breaking down doors, immigrants doing it, stealing your money, your wife, your car. Of course, none of this is really true, not statistically. But it's part of this old fascist mindset. It's how you control people. You get them to believe. You get them to believe, even if it's one of these tenets, as long as they believe it, you got them in their pocket. You're good to go. You're going to get their vote. You're going to get their support. I know, this kind of bothers me sometimes. Number 7 is law and order. And I bring this up. I was going to stop at 6. Then I saw law and order. And remember, he wants to reopen Alcatraz. I'm going to reopen Alcatraz. Maybe we're going to put all those people that are eating the cats and dogs in there. They're eating the cats and dogs. Well, law and order in fascist politics means members of the minority group who accept their subservient role, they can be declared law-abiding. But you got to accept your subservient role to the white population. And the members of the dominant group, by their very nature, are law-abiding. Here's the big point why I needed to do this one. By definition, the leader can't violate law and order. Donald Trump can do anything illegal he wants. Anything. Anything. We already saw this. He did not obey a court order. He refused it multiple times. He's done this time and time again. But again, his supporters write that off if they don't believe it. And some may say, I don't believe he did any of those things wrong. He's perfect. But then there's the others who probably are worse, that know this is wrong, what he does and what he says, but accept it. You can't make this stuff up, people. You really can't. So where do we go from here? I'm going to stop at 7. There's 10. I just want to say this. This is emotional for me because to me, this is as clear as day. And I think for many people, more and more people, it is. Now, we get into some of the policies of Donald Trump and, good or bad or indifferent. It's not the point. He's an executive order god. He has the least amount of bills passed by Congress in history of the presidency. I think he's passed less bills through his Congress, which he has a majority in, than anybody. Why is this? Well, the Democrats are stopping it. No, there wasn't a lot of bills proposed. Why? Because he's writing executive orders. The latest one, pharmaceutical people, lower your prices. Does a executive order do that? Do any of these executive orders actually force people to do something? For the most part, no. But it sounds good. See, when you deal with, for instance, pharmaceutical companies, that's a negotiation as well. That takes people from the government and generally from Congress to work with those executives, call them in and talk to them about the prices, get to the bottom of it, get information. I want lower drug prices as well, but I don't know that somebody just writing an executive order is going to do that. Maybe they're scared to death and they'll do it. I don't know. But it's not about drug prices or how it will help me. No. See, that's what I'm trying to say here so often, my friends, is it's not that it feels good for me. He did something for me. We taught China a lesson. Okay. If you believe that, you're welcome to believe that. Listen, some people still believe in the tooth fairy and some people still believe in Santa Claus. You can believe that Trump somehow won this trade war against China. You can believe that. I mean, it's the same type of fantasy. But it's not about me. It's about the bigger picture. Where does this leave our country? When we're having somebody dictate, meaning dictator, what he wants us to believe and do. Limiting the truth. Limiting freedom. Going after minorities. Making stuff up. Making a mystic past somehow. Our mystic past. People, you're less than 5% of the population. I've said this, and most of these right-wing people, they could care less. Somehow they're still going to believe that God's placed us here for this huge purpose. To do what? What have we done? What have we done over the years? Nothing's changed. Still a war in Ukraine. There's still trouble in the Middle East. There's still inflation. It goes up and down depending. There's still all these issues that have not been fixed and aren't going to be fixed. Eggs are still high. Gasoline's still relatively high. Now that probably should come down because demand is down. It really works that way, supply and demand. I'm sure Donald Trump will say he just spoke to it and it went down. I don't know. But the thing is, what do we believe? We want all these great things for America. We want to be great, but we have to do it the right way. If you want to drill for oil, you have to have environmental regulations. If it costs more, that's okay. See, we're worried about the businessman and not the people. We're worried about who makes money. Why do you think Donald Trump wants to drill, baby drill? He doesn't care about price of oil or price of gas. Not really. It's a deal. He knows these companies make money. He might have investments in these companies. He might be getting a kickback from these companies. What, Qatar just sent him a new plane. He's accepting a bribe, basically. It is. But that's okay for his believers because, they just love Donald Trump. They're gonna help us. They're going to invest money here, and they're for us. As I've said, over the next few years, the global South and, of course, the East, that's China and all those countries that are there, they're going to move away from America. Why? And I've said this yesterday in the video. If you're sitting there as a leader of a country and you have an erratic guy that's really dangerous, that wants to, and has said he wants to control the world, then you're going to find ways to avoid that. At first, you're going to say, I'll do anything you want, Mr. President. I'll do anything you want. But behind the scenes, you're meeting with your basically counterparts in other countries and say, how can we get away from the dollar? How can we create our own trading system. Well, that's already in place. It's just a matter of time. It takes time. Some countries haven't joined yet. Some countries said they won't join right away, but they will. Eventually, it's all going to fall into place. And those of you that think you want to be the dominant species of the world here in America, the dominant country, with 4.5% of the population, I'm going to let you know that I'm guessing that the other 96.5% of the population are not going to really fall into line with that. And at some point, which is starting now, they're going to move away from us as fast as they can, because nobody trusts the fascists. Nobody. You got Orban in Hungary, you got Putin in Russia, maybe not fascist, but definitely authoritarian. Only here in the United States are we as close to fascism or already there than any other country in the world. And those of you that want to just support this type of thing, you do it. That's okay. There's a price that will be paid, and you will eventually pay that price too. You see, a lot of things don't affect people right away, but eventually they come and they bite you in the rear end, or your children in the rear end. That's why I stand on the side of freedom. That's why I don't go after these minority groups like these right-wing people do, because ultimately, when times get hard, some of these people will help you. Some of these people have empathy. Some of these people that we hate will reach their hand out and help you, as you would probably do to them if you actually care. Well, don't forget that we are here for you. We're here to support freedom against tyranny. Join our cause, like, subscribe, and share our videos. We definitely believe that we're in trouble in this country. We believe that in the big picture of things, we're heading towards an authoritarian rule of law that's going to go after minorities, that's going to go after people that don't fit into the system. And we see that already happening. We're behind you here at the David Tomsic Show. God bless you. Again, support us. Don't forget our sister channel, Nights Around the Fire. Please go watch that first video if you haven't. I just met with our other host last night, Sue Taylor. We've decided to make our next video next week, and we're going to release that. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. If you like mysteries, legends, and myths, you'll love this show. So once again, God bless you, and I'll see you next time right on the channel that you love, that gives you the best news, information, analysis, and of course, commentary. That's right here on the David Tomsic Show.